Hey guys, welcome back to another exciting episode of YOML. As you all know, this is the year of magical learning. We are actually on book 175, a good round number. So today we want to talk about one of the core values that we place in company as one of the most important things, the center of everything. So um, let's as you all know what that is. So I'll let Chris introduce it and we can talk.
Yeah, this is a interesting. Did you read this book? I asked you to read it, I think, after I read it. Do you remember?
No, I don't think I read it. I didn't read it.
That's okay. I mean, it was I didn't know. I remember after I read this book, I think it was one of those that I sent you, and I was like, it's like I feel like you should read this because I feel like it was a pretty aligned with what we were
Maybe we'll have to see
what we're doing. But
if it jogs
yeah,
my memory.
that's okay. So the book is called Off Balance,
Uh-huh.
getting beyond the work-life balance myth to personal and professional satisfaction by the author Matthew Kelly. Matthew
Hmm.
Kelly, if you remember him, he was back early on in our year of magical learning discussions. He was one that the Resisting Happiness book. That was the 10 minutes of 10 minutes a day can change your life reflection.
Hmm.
About just spending some time in reflection every single day and the compound effect that happens after more and more. So this was another Matthew Kelly book. He's actually written a lot of books. Obviously I started this book because the title alone, I was looking for books about balance and work-life
Hmm.
balance. That is the Club and E mission.
Yeah,
In a
but
lot of ways.
it's
Not, I
balanced,
know,
but this
I
is
know, I
off
know,
balance. So
I know.
I want to see where you go with this.
Yeah. So no, I know, and also we've agreed as time has gone on, the word work life balance is not the word that we want to talk about, which we'll probably get into in the conversation as we go into it, because
Hmm.
I agree, like that whole the language around how work life balance is even perceived in this world is a problem, because like people are like, it's not possible, and I agree. I think that
Hmm.
we all agree that it's not possible. It shouldn't even, we should use a different word to talk about what we're talking about with this, right? And we'll talk about this in the reflection. But the reflection title of this book is Balance is Everything. So the book is literally about Matthew Kelly exploring like just work life balance, and like why how to obtain it and how to
The
not obtain it.
actual work-life balance.
Actual work life balance, right? Like,
Okay.
yes. And his thing he doesn't believe in, like, he doesn't believe in work life balance, right? Like, because
And
it's
neither
not
do we.
possible, right? I mean, I think we all can agree that like that doesn't really work. But he teaches, the book's kind of about how to try to find your own balance and
Hmm.
and your work and life kind of thing.
Right.
Not necessarily, whatever. Anyway, you get the point. It was an interesting book. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty in line with a lot of the stuff that we talk about. But at the end of the day, as the title says, balance is everything. So, as you know, because that was how we connected initially. Was, I don't know if you remember back to August of 2020, like when you and I first started talking about stuff, like this was probably the number one topic that we talked about from day one. Like there was this
Yes.
was this was the first thing that you and I talked about, was like, we want to find a way to build an organization and a culture that's centered around helping people to live a balanced existence. Now that has taken many shapes over the duration of our relationship, but the mission is still the same. It's all about how can we, in our own lives and help the culture that we want to build's lives, and help the businesses that we want to generate's lives, to have balance, and to live a fulfilling, meaningful life, with balance at its core. And as time has gone on, balance has become, I don't really rank my core values, but if I was going to rank my core values, I would probably say endure is number one, just because that's the first track that Amelia taught me on this journey that I found from her.
Yeah,
And then
but like I said, it can't be number one as endure because you cannot endure something that's not balanced.
I agree. It's like a one. one A, one B. It's tough for me because like Amelia is so important to me. So
I mean,
uh,
it's one of those things where it's interdependent. I mean,
it is.
you can't say, well, this is, better than the other. Well, it just depends on where you are in that circle in the racetrack that I keep mentioning, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the yin and yang of both endure and balance. Or you're right. It's tough, but if I was going to rank my core values, balance would definitely be one of those top core values. And it would be right up there either with endure, right side by side, or whatever.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
you get the point. But for me, balance is everything. It's harmony, it's unity, it's alignment, it's stability, it's sustainability, it's art, it's flow, it's meaning, it's everything, right? Like I mean, it's balance is what we strive for in all that we do. Like it's not obtainable. I don't think it's obtainable. And that's the fun about it because you're always constantly like leveraging multiple different areas of your life to when one thing gets off track a little bit, then you got to balance it out over here. You got to do this. Like you'll never ever be there. Like you'll never ever get to a nirvana balanced state, right? But I don't think you want to be there personally.
Hmm.
I think
Okay.
that the striving for that myself is the fun of all of this, right? Like it's that's why you challenge yourself. That's why you go outside of your, that's why you leverage the other core values that we have and try to keep them all going at the same time. All the little spinning hats, or spinning balls on a stick or something like that. And anyway, so that's my why I love balance so much. But it's not easy. It's not, but it's so fun to try to maintain that and to juggle all those balls. But the interesting thing about this particular book is how we apply that. We're not really here to talk about balance today. What it's really more about how we apply that to this world. And in my opinion, every single person should have a fundamental right to meaningful work, balanced life of meaningful work and meaningful relationships. And this particular book was more focused on the work-life balance of like actual work of what we call work, like going to a corporate office, that kind of, thing, where you're in a culture that's like the company that I work for or whatever, so this book was more focused on that. And there was this scenario where this leader in this in this organization that Matthew Kelly was talking about, he was a great leader. And his boss, the CEO of the company, calls him in and he's like, "Look, you're an amazing leader." He was like, "I want to offer you this really high level position in the organization. I think you'd be a great fit for it." The guy thought about it, and he decided the company came back like a couple days later, and he was like, "Look, I'm sorry, I really appreciate you offering me this role, but I have to decline." And he was like, "Why would you decline?" He goes, I know I'm not going to be the best fit for you." He was like, I really personally care about my own values, and I want to make sure that I do my best to try to live that every single day. And I know that doesn't necessarily, align with the business's values overall all the time. And I don't want to put you in a tough spot where I can't fulfill the needs that you need from like from like an organizational perspective. Because that's just, it's not going to happen. I'm always going to make sure that I put my values first before I, put other things first. And the boss goes, "Ironically, that's exactly why I want you in this job, because I want you to be able to, to have that mindset and to keep us and to keep people focused like that, exactly what you're doing, because I know that if you're doing that, same thing that we talk about all the time, right?"
Hmm.
The thing is this employee was like, "Holy shit. Like, are you kidding me? Like that's what you want me to do?" And this is like this is a real story. Like Matthew Kelly does like a lot of like executive coaching and things like that. And that's what he was talking about in this book. So this employee then goes and starts to tell other employees about like how what he just talked about with the boss. Like, he lets me do this stuff. Like he lets, I get to be you can bring your values into your job and you don't have to be afraid of that. Like you can try to be yourself in this world, and yada, yada, yada. And everybody in these meetings, when he would present this stuff to other people in his organization, this guy would go like the whole meeting would, everybody that's listening to him present this is like, dumbfounded by this. And like I can't believe this. Like, why are you're encouraging me to try to be myself? And I am on the other end of this, listening to this whole thing and consuming this. And I'm like face palming myself going, the sad fact is that this is not the norm, right? This is the fact that this is like something where everybody is going, "Oh, holy shit, like this is crazy," like because we're all have this mentality when we go into this work world of you know, it's all about the culture and the business, and it's 100% dedicated to them, and it's like you got to check yourself at the door all the time, right? And like, and that sucks. Like, it really sucks. Do you ever want to live a balanced life? You cannot disconnect yourself from the work that you do and the people you surround yourself with. It'll never work. You'll never ever have any chance at even playing the game, let alone, you know, trying to find balance in this whole entire environment. So for me, as I was listening to this book, that was the biggest lesson that I took away, is like, everybody deserves a chance to live a balanced life. Everybody does. And not only that, it shouldn't be counterculture, like to say that I deserve that. Like, you know, it should be the culture, in my opinion. It should be everything that we've been talking about in my mind, of building a world where people can strive for balance and bring their own unique self into what they do every single day. And that's the only way this is ever going to work. Like, it's the only way you can ever feel fulfilled as a human, is if you are able to show up and bring yourself out, you know, and share that with the world. Like, I mean, that's just my thoughts. So yeah, I'd love to kind of throw it your way, because I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts about this. But, you know, what does balance mean to you is the question that I asked.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think over the years, the word balance has changed its meaning for me personally. Because I think the word balance, um, we've been anchored by what society denotes it to mean.
Right.
And I think, you know, from for me, the word balance is not so before company, the word balance means to me is, you know, hey, I work a little bit, I
I
have a
live a
little bit of
little
time
bit.
for my exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
so that's what the word means. But for me now, the word balance to me, it isn't a like a state of where you are destiny, right? It's not a destiny. Hey, I'm
Right.
going to get to the point where I have both 50% work or 50% this or whatever. To me, the word balance is a concept
Yes.
right now. It's a concept because there's no such thing as having achieved a state of destiny of destination. It's about a state of being, because for me, it's like you think about when I'm thinking about balance, it means to me that I'm able to have the things on the left and the right and the front and the back that basically kind of equalize to one another. Meaning, like if something is tilting to the left a little bit, I'm gonna put it over to the right. So it's a state of trying to hold up this dynamics of
Yeah.
what I call life. So to me, it's that concept of doing something to receive a state of having the adjustment.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
balance isn't like, hey, I got to that point and
Yeah.
I'm
It's not an
done,
end
right?
state. Yeah. Yeah.
But balance is like, okay, I'm at center of my gravity, and if something on my outer left is, heavier or lighter, then I would tilt to the right a little bit more, and
Right.
it is the act versus the um like the more of like like I said, it's destination where you say, hey, I got to that point, right?
Right.
So it's an act rather than a thing, rather than
Agreed.
some place you have. So that's to me what balance means now. It's like, can I be able to hold these things in check, right? Whether I'm going too
Or
far
how
to
do you hold
left.
it?
Exactly. I mean, these are your faculties. These are your ability to be able to adjust. So to me, that means to me is balance. Is that I'm able to adjust
Right.
because, for example, for me, is like, let's say you and I had different schedules, and whenever schedule goes different, I mean, I'm adjusting it as if there's nothing happened, because
Right.
for me to balance, it's like do it like naturally, like back when like walking. Like you and I who are walking, you and I stand on 2 feet, right? That's balancing, but we don't notice it because our brains is actually making the adjustment left and right. Let's say the wind blows a little bit, right? You don't feel like you're off balance at any time, but
Right.
because because your body, your muscle has been compensating for it. So you get to that point where the act of balance itself becomes like running downhill, like the art of running downhill, because
Right.
it's so effortless. at that moment. So to me, achieving the balance, that's that's what I feel is balance to me, if that
Right.
makes sense, right?
No, it
So
does. Yeah.
for me, I think the word has changed its meaning, and maybe the word balance isn't the right word
Like
to kind of
harmony,
express, right?
like
It's the harmony, it's
right.
the center of
It's
gravity, because when you at a center of gravity, you feel anchored, you feel at peace, you
right.
feel like, hey, everything else it's completely, I guess, equalized in itself. Just like
Right.
I'm standing up, right? I'm standing up, and if because no one can stand on 2 feet without having the muscle trying to adjust at every single micro movements, right? Because you just can't stand. That's why you can't take a inanimate object like a toy or whatever and stand on 2 feet, right, without having some kind of an anchor. And then you have the dynamics of things around you, but maybe a wind or maybe somebody is trying to pass you, right? You get off balance so easily, but because we have been trained for so long that our adjustment becomes so effortlessly that we don't even feel that we're off balance. Even if we're walking past somebody or somebody walking past us, or maybe we saw a fly coming in, and we can dodge and ducks and whatever, and
Right.
still not losing balance, and not even feel like there is an off balance,
Yeah. Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I mean, I agree. It's a tough word. Balance encompasses a lot of things, in one word, right? Like, so it's like unpacking that, like,
Mm-hmm.
it's a little dimension all over the place of what balance is. But like, and we know it, like you said, like it's like running downhill. Like, you know it when you have it, or not have it, but you know it when you're in a state of somewhat equilibrium and balance, and you also know it when you're not, right? Like, I
Right.
mean, like you know when you're everything is just all fucked, like, and like you're all over the place and your brain's all scattered. Like, when you're talking about like your example of like walking just in general, like if you have like vertigo, I mean, it's disorienting as hell. Like, I mean, it's hard, it's frustrating. It's yeah, you can keep going forward, like, but every step sucks. Like,
Yeah,
every
it's so much
day.
effort, right? So much
Right.
effort into it. But thing is, the state of balance, the act of having balance. So it's having balance is having the ability to act in a way that adjusts your center of gravity, right? Things adjusting to your center of gravity without a lot of effort, without noticing effort.
Right.
That to me, that's what I think of when I hear of the word balance, and the core value is balance today versus what we started with, in the beginning. Hey, work life balance, because that's all we knew was,
Right.
hey,
You're right.
you shouldn't be working like 80 hours and not having any time for yourself, your family. That's where I started. But I think going through this journey, for me, the word balance is it's just that, and it's what to me is the you're talking about the ranking of values. And so for me, it's in terms of ranking your value, isn't really applicable to this
Agreed.
concept of balance, because to me
I don't
balance
rank them.
is like your centers of an orbit, right? And you have
Exactly.
the other,
They're all
I guess,
important.
other core values like intermingle into that orbit. So it depends on where you are and what you need. The core value apply more or less depending on the externality of
Yes.
because we talked about externality before, meaning like, hey, if you had a certain state of mind, or you need certain things, so a certain core value will actually elevate itself to become more important than the other ones, and vice versa, depending on what stage of the period of time that you're in, that you need to bring out the tools to make the adjustments.
Agreed. I don't even know that we should even call balance of value. I think you're right. I think it's a state. Like, and you use, like, if you're sitting in the middle of a platform, like some days I may need to push on my challenge value more to
Mm-hmm.
like balance
Right.
the rest of, like, it's more like, I don't know that it's a value. I value it. I value balance, but I don't know that balance is a value. Like,
Yeah,
when I
it
when I
doesn't
when
belong to the core values or
right,
the principle and category, because it isn't a thing in itself, right?
right,
It's an act. Meaning,
right,
once you have a balance, it's not like, hey, I got it, right? No,
right.
because it's always changing and you're always adjusting, and the ability to adjust is what I call balance.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. like, so actually, ironically, when I think of like my personal core values, balance is always there in the as a through line current, under
Hmm.
everything, but it's never expressly I don't wake up and say I need to balance. Like, I mean, I don't know what that would even mean. It's like I need to. What I do is I need to learn something. So I learn something, then I'm like, okay, I'm good with that. Now I need to go challenge myself. I need to go exercise, or now I need to go reflect and get that out. Now I need to put like I'm a little tilted this way. Learn too much. Now I got to tilt back on this way. Now I got to do
Yeah,
this. But
exactly.
it's never
Because I don't think it's a lever that you press on. It's a
exactly
platform that you're on, and that platform has levers on it. Where you say,
right.
hey, I'm going to press some of these learning a little bit because I've been overweight on the learning. I need to go to the other side and do some more of the enduring, or do some more of the challenge, or whatever
Yeah.
whatever the other one is, to make sure that it's not tilted too much to one side, and it always like adjusting, because you're going to go into one, it's going to tilt, and then that means that you got to go back up and go to the other one, so the balance isn't like one of the things level, like I imagine like sitting on a disc, right, on a gigantic disc, and then there's a bunch of like bars, like huge bars, like on each like places
Right.
around that disc, right? And I'm reaching for one, right? It's gonna tilt. And so the balance isn't one of the ball or the different core values on that disc. The balance is the disc itself that we
Yeah.
are on.
Yeah.
So you can't really, hey, I'm going to do a little bit more balance. You can't do something that's not right. You can't say, hey,
Yeah.
I'm going reaching for the red ball.
You're always
The
balancing.
challenging, right? Or I'm reaching for the blue ball, whether you say, hey, it's learning, or reaching for the yellow ball that's, enduring, or whatever it is. You can't reach for, because I think it's a disc that these bars are on, right? So
Right.
it doesn't belong to the categories of the core values of like the enduring, the challenging, the learning, and the integrity and all that. We can't say, hey, I'm going to lean over more to this red bar to say, hey, I'm going to want to be more challenging. You can't just lean towards balance, because there isn't a bar called balance, because the balance itself is the whole thing that you're standing on. So that's
Exactly.
why the balance isn't something that we say, hey, today I'm gonna be a little bit more balanced. That
I don't know what
doesn't
that
make
means.
sense.
Right. No, it doesn't at all. And like the sad part about like kind of the secondary commentary of what I was talking about in the reflection around this manager example, like
Hmm.
everyone should deserves the ability to even try to stabilize their own life, right? Like everyone deserves that, like, ability to at least be on the platform and trying to push the right levers and whatever, and understanding that, like, we don't, so many people don't even understand that, but B, most people aren't even on that platform. Like, I mean, like they're literally on somebody else's platform, and they're like, I don't give a shit about balancing your shit. Like, I have a life over here that I want to go balance, and that's when the whole work life balance comes into play, because that's what we think. I agree with you. Like when you said earlier about where we started and where we're at now, like that is all that we knew. That was the words that we knew what we were trying to say, but like we wanted to bring ourselves into everything that we do, whether it's the platform. One of the levers is meaningful work, and another one is meaningful relationships, another one is your
Right,
individual
right.
values, another one is like there's and you're, like you said, you're at the center of all of that. But it is really, really interesting to take a peek back to, you know 2+ years ago or whatever, to where we started this whole entire thing when we first connected on the concept of, like, we want to build a culture centered around helping people to find and maintain balance, like a balanced life. And like, because you're right, that's what we thought of when we said work-life balance. I mean, that was like that was what we thought of. And that's the wrong word. Like, it has nothing to do with balancing work and life. It is all one. It's really just understanding yourself and balancing yourself throughout the course of all the things that you do. But the worst part about all this shit is, like, most people aren't even on that platform like you're talking about. They're on somebody else's fucking platform all the time.
I mean,
And
but
like,
you also imagine, even if you're trying to be on your own platform, and somebody say, well, those core values that is balancing you right now, because you have your
right,
core values sits around like this.
that doesn't
Say,
fit on
well,
this one.
that thing, throw it away. That thing,
Yeah, yeah,
imagine what happened to your disc of balance. Right? It completely off balance because
you're like a schizo.
because then you think about having your life and your life is, like I said, a beaver must dam. So that means that you have certain core values that it pertains to that expression of being that beaver
Right.
or that fox or that hedgehog or whatever. And then certainly you say, hey, when you participate in this corporate work environment, you should take one of those balances, throw it away because you got to leave it at the door.
Yeah.
And basically that's completely as offset, off balance the whole entire disc, and you trying to lean on the corporate disc, which a lot of people are basically you're basically always completely trying to hang on to a corporate disc, balance disc,
Right.
where your is falling because you completely off vertically off balance your own disc. So the only safe I guess the lifeline for you is to grab on and hang on to the balance disc of the corporate world, and then you're basically getting
Like
spinning.
you have like 1 foot over here and 1 foot, like you're like
Well,
straddling across discs,
exactly, because
Yeah,
then the other one is completely off balance because you were told to leave it at the door. It's thrown away, so you can't stand with 2 feet on your own disc. So you
Right.
have to kind of lean on the other one and hang to dear life to the corporate disc. And this is where you completely become stressed out because your is collapsing, and you hang on to this particular disc that you can't even control because there's a
Right.
bunch of other people is pressing on their own whatever core values that they think they should be working on a bunch. And so you are at the whim of these masses, right? Or the corporate core value, and however they want to say, hey, I think this year we should do more, I guess like challenging, more learning, more
Sure.
working, more earning, more whatever. So
Right.
they decide what core value levers you press on, and you have to go on for the ride and you hang on to dear life because yours is not stable and this thing has no control and you don't want it. And basically, you're basically you're hanging on
Yeah.
on the disc that's been spinning around, and you basically
Then
getting
you're
a
exhausted.
whirlwind of this disc where, I mean, you think about living a life in that state.
It's
This is
exhausting.
what I think. This, to me, in my mind, it's a perfect analogy to what I see in the corporate world, right? In our society today, is we are completely off angle of our existence because we have no idea what to do, and we are so afraid to let go of this corporate disc and to explore our own, right? Because
Yeah.
we're hanging and it's spinning because
Oh yeah.
who knows what, right? And then you don't want to fall down to oblivion, so you hang on and you suffer the stress and the endure and like you endure the suck
Right.
of these maniac of a gigantic disc that everybody's on. And to me,
That nobody
it
wants to be
becomes
on either.
chaotic. It becomes
Right.
chaotic because
Yeah.
who's controlling the big disc? It's a
Uh,
bunch of people. And
there,
he
there, there,
decide.
there was a few people that started it that was very much in alignment with that disc. And then
But then
as the
when you start
time
people
goes
adding
on,
people on, right? They're
right.
going to influence what levers of core value you want to press.
Well, that's why founders leave the business, because eventually, like, shit they get all unaligned with their own original vision, and they're like, "This is not what I wanted. This is never what I wanted. I'm done with this. Like, I'm exiting. I'm selling it. I'm whatever. I mean, like, like this happens all the time with, like, founders of a business where they're like, I don't even align anymore to my own creation. Like it's own entity, and now, like,
Yep.
it's just this all I totally agree with you. And you made me think about uh my recent trip to Atlanta for a sales kickoff that we did, where I was this is my lesson I gave to my team last Friday in our weekly L10 meeting, I guess, if you will, just piggybacking on yesterday. I don't call it L10, but that's kind of what we're doing. I have like this little coaching corner, thing, that I kind of give, like, one of my YOML lessons essentially from it. That
Cool.
we talk some of this stuff through this stuff. And that lesson that week actually was about, I give them all like their first things first time, right? And they all love it. Like they're young in their careers. They're trying to figure this stuff out. They want to be successful in this jumping on this disc, this corporate disc. But at the same
Right.
time, like I'm trying to tell them, don't forget who you are, and make sure you own that. Always carry that with you, no matter where you are, because that is what only thing that matters at the end of the day, right? Like, and you'll actually be in better alignment with the corporate disc if you're in better alignment with yourself, in my opinion. But
Right.
our vision for you and I is we want to bring this all together. This isn't what I was telling them, but like this is our vision, right? It's like, let's bring this all together into one, so you don't have to feel like you're living in two worlds. But even now, with the current state of living in two worlds, I asked them all after, because we had a hectic they had a hectic 4 days, right? It was from start to finish. Wake up, you're in a offsite, you're in a hotel, like there's drinks every night, there's dinners every night, there's there's all day long meetings all day long. Like you're constantly go, and then go to this event, and then go to the next thing, go to this event, go to this training session, go to this, all day long you're doing stuff, right? Like there is no time for you. There's hardly any damn time to call your family, let alone
Right.
like, make any time for yourself. So, and like I said, I give them their first things first time. So me personally, I'm up at, I knew that we had to get these things started at, 8 o'clock or whatever is when we all had to go have like, a breakfast as a company and, be in the rooms. And then, I knew I was going to be out late at night or whatever. So like when everybody else wanted to keep going out, I'm like, I'm going to go back to the room. Like, cause I know I got to get up at like 5 a.m. because I got to do my own first things first. Even though I'm on their ride, I'm still going to make sure that I do my ride. So I'm in the gym, whatever, like getting my run in with Amelia, because I can't go run outside. It was a really shitty day, like every day that we were down there. So I have to get this. I gotta get my run in with Amelia. I'm listening to a book. I'm doing my reflection, writing my YOML in the hotel room. I feel centered going into these meetings, and I'm okay with it. And then I can handle the rest of the day. Like I can jump on that other disc and handle the rest of the day, because I know that at least I
At least
tried
your
my
disc
best
is
to
not it's not off by and to the
right.
vertical side, right?
Exactly. So, but I asked them all at, because I'm a pro at this now. Like Amelia and I know how to maintain balance in our life, and no matter what's thrown at, like right now we're meeting at 3 p.m. because we had something else that was going on, right? Like this isn't our normal time, but we also know this is important, and we don't want to. We could have easily just said, fuck it for tonight, you know what I mean? But no, this is important. Like I carved out time in my day. You carved out time in your day to make sure that we were able to have this conversation. So
But the
I
thing
asked
is, you,
them,
you think
yeah,
about it, right? What we do nowadays, it's effortless. Just like you're
yeah,
talking about, like a kid walking, right? In the
yeah.
beginning, it's hard for him to maintain balance in walking. And for us, once we have enough training, right, to get up and walk together and run, it's so easy.
Right.
It is like
It's just part
we
of the
don't
life.
think
Yeah.
about it.
Right.
So when you think about how we just meet every day, and if you are have something priority to do, for us to find something, a time together or whatever, it's effortless. I don't even think about it. I just,
Right.
okay, I have this open, let's go.
We have to find
Right.
a time. Like, I mean, like that's it. Cause this is an important part to stay balanced for ourselves. Right. Like it's not even a question. It's like, I
And
gotta
it's
find
not
time,
it's not
yeah.
even like, how like you can do it, but it bothers you because it shifted your schedules, right?
Right.
Or it's like, so it's one of those things where I don't even think about it. You think about
Right.
it, right? You get to the point where you don't think about it. Let's say hey, Chris, can go grab me that cup over there, right? You just walk. You wake up, and you just get up and you walk over there.
Right.
You didn't even think, oh, I need to get up. I need to maintain balance. I need to walk, right? That's what we're doing. Is when we have enough training with this, is whatever comes out, comes to us, like we just grab it and just like
Your elephant is trained,
we
like,
basically are the masters of these, whatever comes at us, right?
right.
We just do tai chi on it, push it back to the world. It's like, hey, nothing to it. I don't want to think about it, right? it's
I
not
agree.
it's not even beyond the point that, hey, we could handle it. It's get to the point where we just acted without even like having to think about, having the ability to, that crosses my mind. So for
It's
me,
unconscious.
it doesn't even cross my mind that, hey, it's changed. I just say, oh, today is, I just get on.
Right.
I just get
Yeah.
on and we move forward with whatever it is. So without having the conscious of thinking about, and to me, that's at another level. And I think if we can create the ability for the members of company to get to that level, right? Wherever they go, whether that's corporate or
Yeah. You can
companies
find
or
balance
wherever,
anywhere. Yeah. Right.
they can adjust it
Right.
without making a sweat,
I
because
mean, true. Like you're so spot on. Like that's the whole point, right? Of all of this stuff is that was what I was getting at with them was so at the end of that week, like my elephant is trained. I do this stuff, for Amelia and I. Like I know what's important to me. I know what I need to do to stay balanced in my life as of today, right? And to honor my mission with her. So I asked them all in our team meeting. That was my coaching. I was explaining this, and they're new to this world. And I asked them all. I was like, "How many of you guys were able to do your first things first this week?" Because I know how chaotic. On Thursday, after so we had 3 days of that other stuff. Go, right? Like just constant nonstop action. Then on Thursday, they had to go fly to New York for a conference. So they were all at a conference that next day. So they didn't really. Then Fridays our team meetings that we had when we were having this. And I was like, just out of curiosity, how many of you guys Monday through Thursday were able to do your first things first? Because every single day when they're normally at home, it's always a thumbs up where they get their first things first done, right? And I was like, I'm just curious, like, because I know it was a tough week. Like, how many of you guys were able to do it? None of them. None of them were able to do it. And I was like, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but I also, and
I mean, you think
to
about
your point, like
you think
the
about your
corporate,
kid, right?
yeah,
I mean, a kid, you ask him to, hey, get up and walk. Well, he's gonna like grab along the sofa, and then you tell him to put it on the street for him to walk. He doesn't walk, right?
right.
He has to be trained more and more, and that's gonna be like that for everyone, because
It is.
no one is gonna be able to take what they have. Like, yeah, when you're home, you're able to do the first things first, because you were kind of on this training wheel, right?
Right.
You're getting to the point where, yeah, I can do this because I carve out a schedule. What happens when something different
Yeah.
things,
A big
different, like,
wrench gets thrown into your
I mean, you think
shit,
about it.
Yeah.
When you put a kid
You-
in his room, right? He walks because he knows everything. Then you put it out on the street. There's people walking. There's dogs walking. There's a wind. There's dust. There's like leaves everywhere, right? These are things that is going to be the things that it's outside the real world. And
right.
yeah, at home a kid can walk, but then outside he won't be able to walk because there's so many different things that's going to affect him, influence the way he's gonna perform. But eventually that kid learns how to walk, and then went outside and walk. You and I walk. Like I say, if a kid has all his faculties, all his or her faculties, right? All the kids has able to successfully learn how to walk,
Yeah.
whether that's inside, out in the street,
On and
on the
rock climbing,
mountain,
like yeah, right, yeah,
wherever, right? But I'm
right.
saying it's 100% success rate. And that's what I'm saying is, if you take the same concept as, yeah, right? I mean, the guys that you're mentoring, they can't do the stuff because they have confidence and stuff, because they haven't get adjusted to doing that. But once they master the level that you need to master, they're going to go up to the next level,
Yeah.
where any place, any time, they can do the first thing first without even thinking. They say, hey, I'm at this completely like remote area where there's nothing, blah blah blah, right? For whatever reason, once you have been trained, you just automatically know what to do, and you can do the things that matters to you. And that first thing
Yeah.
first becomes like effortless.
It's your elephant is
It's
now
been
it's now
trained.
a part of your elephant, right? Like and like I mean, hell, you think about our journey together. I mean, think about all the things. I can only speak for my own side of the house because I'm like I can't even detail how many crazy things have happened in the past multiple years of my life where like the only constant has been this stuff, right? Like and the only of finding like how to walk in the mountain ranges, versus whatever. I mean, whether it be in the hospital, like with Luca in the NICU for 92 days, still able to figure this thing out. Whether it be moving, my furnace going
this
out,
is where I
AC,
call balance, because you're
right?
able to do that, right?
You can
Because you
find it
think
wherever you
about it, if
are.
somebody's pushing you over, right? And if you're the baby, what happens to you? You fall. But if I
Right,
push you over, what happened? You're not gonna fall. And that's the act, right? The
right.
balance is an act, because you have the ability to adjust with whatever comes at you. So you with Luca in the NICU, right? for 92 days, you're still able to do the things, you able to hold yourself up and center yourself. To
Right.
me, that's a level of balance. The meaning of balance means to me right now versus what we thought what balance was in the beginning when we started this journey together.
For sure. I mean, like 1000% agree. And I mean, I'm just thinking through other scenarios. I mean, how many times have I been sick on this journey? Because like Luca gets sick all the time. Like, how many times have I been sick? How many times did we've done these things when we've traveled? We've done these things when we're when my AC and my furnace went out 2 different times over the course of the past year, and I'm living in my parents' house, and we're living out of a suitcase every single day. Or when I mean, I don't know. I could go on and on and on of all the different scenarios of life, like, because people would go, well, that's not possible. Life happens. Like, you're gonna, like, yes,
and you adjust, just like like I said, you go
right.
out into the real world, there's going to be things that you don't expect.
Exactly.
I mean, you go to the market. You go to the market, there's a bunch of people, right? So it's like, if you don't know how to walk and you can't maintain your own physical balance, right? Just take that analogy, physical balance, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna, people are gonna brush over you. People are gonna, maybe push you over a little bit, right?
Like,
Are you gonna fall? No,
right.
you're gonna adjust and you move over, or whatever. That's the beauty of it. It's not like, oh, it's impossible because so many variables, so many things is influence you. You can't maintain your stance as a two-legged person. But you think about, have
It's
you?
such a good analogy,
I just don't
honestly.
see anyone go out to the market, right, with a bunch of people, especially like New Year's or Christmas, a bunch of people at a concert, and suddenly everybody's falling down, like a domino effect of people falling down. I was like, I don't see that, because everybody is on their own disc and they're adjusting their balance. Because and if you have the mentality of saying, it's not possible because life happens, but well, you're never gonna get trained to the certain level of being able to walk, because you think about it, being able to stand right on 2 feet is a monumental feat alone.
I agree. Yeah,
right?
it's pretty incredible. Yeah.
I mean, like I say, I mean, there are so many muscles in your leg and so many faculties inside of your body. It is working to make sure you stand up.
Right.
And that's a lot of work, right? That's a lot of work. But your body has been trained and it's able to do that without being you conscious.
I mean,
you're not even conscious of it. Like I asked you, if you, hey Chris, go grab me that glass. You don't think about the thing you need to do to get up, maintain balance, put your one step forward, and like, you don't think about it. Just get up. The only thing you think about, hey, there's a cup over there. Oh, that's a cup you're looking for. Oh, the only thing you're looking for, the only thing you're thinking, hey, why did True want a cup? You don't think about how to walk, how to maintain balance. So if you take the same concept as, once you train the elephant to say, I'm on this life balance disc, right? And you get to that level, you don't even have to think about it. And life happens is minor. I mean, you don't even think about it. I mean, something could fly at you, like maybe like a bird fly at you. You're not gonna fall flat in your face.
Right.
You think about it. Even if a bird, right, comes down and say, hey, I saw he's holding a piece of bread, I'm gonna swoop down, whatever. You duck, right, or you do whatever automatically, and you didn't fall down.
Analogy. I mean, it's a fantastic analogy, and all I can keep thinking about in my head is Luca and watching him learn how to walk. You're right. Like, every time that he goes somewhere new, he just falls flat on his face, because it's new. Like, he hits a curb, he falls on his face. He hits he has to go step over this like thing when he's outside. He's walking on mulch, at the playground. He falls on his face. Like, he's on the rubber stuff, falls on his face. Like, he just doesn't understand like different textures, different things that we just innately it's part of our elephant. I mean, it's really, really, really good analogy. I mean, because you're right. Like, I mean, he's got to fall a million different times and see a lot of different scenarios thrown at him for his elephant to be able to say, like, I don't even think about this stuff anymore. It makes me think about tennis. Like, I mean, like, I heard a quote recently, just the other day from the book that I'm reading that I wanted to make into a reflection, but I don't think I'm going to. But it's still a really good quote. It's you don't watch a magician if you want to learn how to do magic. Like, you can't watch somebody doing parkour up a mountain if you're Luca and go, oh yeah, no, I understand how he did that. Like, he can't do it. You got to keep falling down, a million different times. Like, you got to figure out how to do the magic. You know what I mean? Like you can't like the what I was just describing with my team that I was giving them the coach's corner, I guess if you will, you know, analogy. Like I know how to do the magic now. Amelia taught me. We've been doing this now together. This is a part of how we maintain a balanced life together. I know how to do the magic. I can't teach you how I did what I did. I can give you the blueprint. Sure, anybody can say, Luca, yeah, anybody can do parkour up a mountain. All you got to do is do this, this, and this. Like but that's not it. Like you don't watch a magician to learn how to do magic, right? You know, like because if you did, you're gonna go, I don't understand any of what you just did. Like, you know, and I can't even begin to fathom how, like, if Luca was watching parkour, like, you know, like he'd be like, what the fuck? Like, how do I get to do that? Like, I mean, there's no way possible he could ever comprehend it, you know?
And then the beauty of it, the beauty of this thing is you think about how much training, how much effort, how many things is working in unison for us to even stand up, right? Just to stand up. That is so much effort. But the beauty of it is that I'm telling you right now, if you're not like disabled or you know, whatever the case where you lack the faculty, 100% of all the billions of people that's ever lived on Earth was able to walk.
Agreed. Anybody
that
can do
means
it.
That means that when you tell me that life happens and I can't do first things first, I give you that scenario. Right? If you have all your faculties, even with a tremendous amount of effort to achieve this one thing, to physically balance yourself, right? 100% of the time, 100 out of 100, people walk.
Yeah.
Out of the billions of people. So that means that when you're telling me that life happens, it's just your mental state. You just refuse to do the work. You refuse to do the training. But I guarantee you, the training that you do for the core for the balance of the first things first is so much simpler than for your body and for you and your brain to be trained to stand up.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
I mean, you take that and you know, marinate it for a second and think about, well, yeah, well, because the thing is, I'm saying is, if you think you can't, you're right. If you think you can, you're also right.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I totally agree with you. I mean, I think this is I think this has been a really fun. This is why I love these, and I'm sure the same. I'm sure you feel the same. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, if I am wrong. But like, this is exactly.
Yeah, I'm eating frogs for the past 2.5 years, dude. I mean, I hate this, you know, fucking thing. I mean, to go and talk to you one-on-one. I mean, I'm eating frog. I mean, and you know, I'm getting paid like nothing, and I'm
nothing. Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, no, that's hilarious.
I mean,
no, these are really fun because it just opens up your. It always is great to don't do it alone, right? You know, like, I mean, that's one of the core values, right? Like, and this is a part of the reason why we do this, you know. So no, I think this has been a great discussion. I mean, I don't know that I have any more. I feel good, very fulfilled after this one. I because you know, balance is an important topic, but I think I learned a lot today. So you know, thank you for your perspective. I think that was good. Any final thoughts you wanted to add before we jump?
I mean, to me, I want to drive home the fact that, you know, if you train your elephant will be able to learn whatever it is. Whether that, you know, you think, because everybody say this is impossible. Work-life balance or whatever you want to call it is impossible. It's not impossible, because I just give you an example of you know, all the humans has ever lived, right? Has able to walk successfully 100% of the time. Not even 99.99%. It's 100%. I mean, given that they have all the faculties, meaning that you're not born with, you know, no legs or whatever. But yeah, you think about it. Think about that for a second.
I agree.
I leave you with that. I leave
but
the
actually,
viewers with that.
what you just left me with was another idea, and I have to say it
That's the
now.
point. That's the point.
I know. So I have to say this now because like Clubany, of what we're trying to build is, I like to think of it as we're designing an ecosystem where people can walk easier, right? Like, it's hard to do work-life balance in the ecosystem that you're in right now because you do have to. It's like climbing a mountain. You got to do parkour up a mountain, right? But what if you could build a city, flatten it all out, pave every road? Like, it's a lot easier to go walk in that city, right? Like, that's why we build these things.
It's a training ground. It's a
It's a
training
training
ground
ground. Yeah.
for you to know how to walk. Because if you basically take a kid into a rocky, surface or whatever, all the rock. I mean, for him to even walk, right, it's gonna be very, very painful. He's gonna fall. He's gonna hit his head. He's gonna scrapes everywhere, right? You think
Gonna
about
suck.
that's the society we're at
Right.
because you are hanging on to this corporate destiny life as it spins around, as it's tilting up and down. It's chaotic. How could you ever gonna have a pleasant training experience from that kind of environment? So company gets to the point where they say, look, this is where we say, hey, you start with this flat ground where you can just stand, okay, how long you can stand, do first things first, right?
Right.
Do it at home. And then once you do that at home for like 3 months, right? And then you say, hey, let's do it once, when you go traveling and see if you can do it, right? So we are actually it's a training ground for you to being able to walk without having this completely painful experience of learning how to walk yourself. That's why I mean you don't put Luca on these, whatever, completely rocky and uneven terrains in the mountains somewhere where there's a bunch of obstacles. You don't.
I would never do that. That's insane.
That's the analogy. That's an analogy.
It is. No, you're right. It's really hard to try to bring yourself. That's the whole story in this book was like that I was given the analogy of. It's really hard to bring yourself into that corporate environment because it's not the norm. Like it should be, but it's not. Like and you're a counterculturalist if you try to buck that trend. You're a weirdo if you try to be yourself and bring yourself out in your work that you do. You're a weirdo. Like that sucks. Like, yes, Luca would be a weirdo if he was, learning how to walk in the Rocky Mountains or something like that, up in, like climbing boulders or whatever. Like I mean, like you'd be like, yeah, man, like that's not what we do here. Like, because that's stupid. Like, and I agree. Like, it is stupid to try to do that in this world. That's why we're trying to build a world where it is easier. So I had to leave with that. Because you bring the walking analogy is such a good analogy, and we just to give people an easier place to walk in, like and eventually they can train their elephants in that place. So so I love it. All right, that's a great mental visual that I can walk away with from today. The question we can leave with you all is what does balance mean to you? So let us know what you think, and if you have any comments, let us know, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Good night. Or good afternoon.